Hi guys, welcome to the Wrestling Retrospective, and in this video I'll be doing my predictions for AEW Worlds End. So first up on the card we have Kazuchika Okada versus Ricochet, because I assume they might do the Continental Classic semi-finals first and then maybe do a couple matches and then get to the final. For me, I'm going with Kazuchika Okada to get the win over Ricochet here. I know that Ricochet's on a bit of a hot streak as far as his freshly new heel turn, and the Hammerstein Ballroom gave him pure shit all in the last couple of weeks. I know there were pre-tapes and all that, but it was really funny to see, and I feel like that crowd has actually helped this along very well. But for me, I can't doubt Okada here. He is the current champion. And yeah, I think for me as well, no matter how the other match works out, we get either Okada versus Ospreay, which will be a classic, or we get Fletcher versus Okada 2, which was good in the Continental Classic the first time when Fletcher, let's be fair, kind of shocked the field in getting a win over Okada so early in the tournament. So yeah, for me, this works out well either ways, and I don't think they'll want to put Okada's championship into jeopardy just yet, even though, like, you know, it's not a massive jeopardy because he is one of the best tournament wrestlers. But yeah, for me, I'm gonna go with Okada to get through the semi-final. Not convincingly, I feel like Ricochet's really gonna test him, but for me, it makes the most sense that Okada kind of goes into the final and defends his championship. Following that, we have Kyle Fletcher versus Will Ospreay in the other semi-final match of the Continental Classic. And for me, I'm going to go with Will Ospreay based purely on the fact that he is the only babyface on this side of the bracket. And I am truly convinced that if Kyle Fletcher loses here, he can recover very, very quickly. He is on a massive hot streak right now and is showing very convincingly that he is going to be the future of AEW next year, if not sooner. So yeah, for me, Ospreay lost the match at Full Gear. It makes sense that he would get his win back here, and it would, yeah, okay, leave their feud at 2-1 Ospreay, but this will nowhere near be the last time these two meet, and I feel like this is going to be one of the feuds that is remembered in AEW history, with them, you know, even last night when they faced off on Dynamite. You know, you can kind of see that being the image of the feud between these two for a long time to come. So yeah, for me, I feel like, as I said, Fletcher can afford to take a loss here and recover fairly quickly. And Ospreay gets another big one on pay-per-view, especially after taking a few pretty decently big losses more recently. It makes sense that he would kind of have this last chance at a championship going into the final and facing Okada. So yeah, for me, as I said, Will Ospreay to get the win here and move on to the Continental Classic final. After that, we have probably the most predictable match of the card by a country mile, which is Takeshita versus Will Hobbs for the International Championship. And Takeshita is 100% winning this one. I literally cannot see a world where Hobbs beats Takeshita here. And so I haven't seen much of this feud actually go down, because most of it's happened on Rampage, and I don't watch Rampage like everybody else. So yeah, for me, is literally a no-brainer here. Like, a very quick prediction from me. Takeshita's 100% winning, and yeah, we'll see what he does next come, I think, the next pay-per-view is Grand Slam, so hopefully he has a better match there as far as, like, a build that people can be interested in. No offense to those two, but putting it on Rampage was not the best idea. And yeah, so I just cannot see Hobbs winning here, and Takeshita is going to be probably wrestler of the year next year, so it makes the most sense that he gets the win here and goes into the New Year's champion. After that, we have Mariah May defending the Women's World Championship against Thunder Rosa in a Tijuana street fight. And yeah, it's a match I'm very looking forward to. I know that last time I watched a Mariah May street fight, it wasn't the best against Anna Jay, but the fact they're putting this on pay-per-view would suggest that these two are going to kind of go out of their way to kind of beat the shit out of each other. And we know that Thunder Rosa is very good in kind of no disqualifications, you know, lights out, street fight kind of matches. You know, all we have to do is think back a few years to the match with Britt Baker at St. Patrick's Day Slam, and I feel like isn't going to be as good as that, but this is going to be very good in my opinion. We know that Mariah May can get very violent when she wants to, and yeah, it's so much I'm very looking forward to, though I'm not exactly invested in this feud, and it definitely feels like Mariah May is 100% going to retain, which is what I've actually gone for. You can see it on the screen, but yeah, for me, yeah, Mariah May retains no matter what here, because it does feel like the whole Tony amnesia story will eventually come back around to Mariah May. And yeah, it makes sense. I mean, Mariah gets a lengthier reign out of it, and I do not see Thunder Rosa as a threat at all to the Women's Championship. So yeah, I feel like it's a decent match to have. I feel like the street fight element does help this massively. And yeah, for me, as I've said, Mariah May 100% going to retain here. Following that, we have what is probably the hardest match on the card to predict, in my opinion, which is MJF versus Adam Cole for the Dynamite Diamond Ring. And for me, I'm going with Adam Cole to get the win here, and I know that kind of ends the streak or the reign of terror of MJF and the Dynamite Diamond Ring. But for me, it's more about what comes afterwards. And I can't help but feel like this isn't a feud ender. I can't see them, you know, fighting for the Dynamite Diamond Ring and that be it. Like, that just, in my opinion, just seems so ridiculous, because the Dynamite Diamond Ring doesn't mean anything. In my opinion, it's not a championship, it's just a thing. And I know it makes the most sense, and the safest option is to go to MJF to get the win here, and he continues having this weapon that he can just hide whenever he wants. But for me, it's more about giving MJF a reason to want a rematch. And as I said, I can't see this ending here. I don't think it'll end anytime soon, really. I feel like they're going to be interlocked for a while. But MJF will want a rematch to get the ring back, and because eating a loss to Adam Cole at this point, like, won't be the best thing for him, because obviously at the minute the record stands at MJF win and a draw, I believe. I think they've only had 2 matches and neither of them gone to Adam Cole. They've all pretty much been MJF. So for me, it just, storyline makes the most sense that Adam Cole finally gets this win over MJF, and then this kind of pisses off MJF so much that he demands the rematch, and Cole kind of holds the cards, whereas the whole time, you know, MJF has held all the cards. He's been the one making him jump through hoops and all that kind of stuff. So for me, yep, Adam Cole gets the win here. He wins the Dynamite Diamond Ring. He kind of just, like, it kind of gets forgotten about like it does any other time, apart from when MJF starts on the screen. And we kind of have this feud continue without this silly thing around. And I feel like the only thing that, for me, like, that is it, I've got invested in the fact that they've done like a whole, oh, we're doing full circle, which I really liked. And I said when Adam Cole returned that I was hoping they were going to do that, and they have done, which is really cool. And yeah, I feel like here's going to be a great match, but like once they kind of get rid of the stipulation of the Dynamite Diamond Ring, they could really go for it and kind of have the match similar to they had it All In. But yeah, for me, Adam Cole will get the win here. I think, I said, it's really hard to predict. And then we kind of continue this feud without the Diamond Ring and kind of concentrate more on them as people instead. Following that, we have Mercedes Moné defending the TBS Championship against Chris Statlander in a rematch from Full Gear. And the Full Gear match blew me away. I couldn't believe how good that match was. And the fact that we're getting this again makes me very, very happy. And it's the match I'm looking forward to the absolute most. Unless we get Okada Ospreay, because I know how good that, fucking amazing that's going to be. But I'm putting my neck on the line here, and I'm trying to convince myself as much as I'm going to try and convince you that Chris Statlander is going to beat Mercedes Moné and become the new TBS champion. Now, the first thing that I had worries about was the fact that Moné is booked for Wrestle Dynasty and is facing Mina Shirakawa. Now, I thought that was for the TBS Championship, the Strong Championship, and the Rev Pro Women's Championship. However, that is not the case. The TBS Championship is not on the line in that match. It's just the Strong Championship. So, for me, that takes the possibility of Statlander winning up so much higher, because they have pretty much over the last few months since turning her babyface again, put a lot of investment in her. She's pretty much, pretty much she hasn't lost since turning babyface again. She's had not massive wins, but she's had, oh no, she has lost. She lost to Moné. Forget what I just said about that. Right. But she's been having wins and wins and wins and wins and wins on TV, and it just seems that we're building her up, and she's like almost justifying the face turn with the TBS Championship win. Also, Moné can win it back off Statlander whenever. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a long reign for Statlander, but it makes the most sense that the defeater of the undefeated in Chris Statlander beats the undefeated Mercedes Moné here. And as much as I'm trying to, you know, manifest this into existence and convince, as I said, myself and you guys, I don't know, it's the match I've been so back and forth about. about whether they'll actually give Mercedes her first loss at World's End. Of course, the title of the pay-per-view makes the most sense as well. You could say that Mercedes Monet's world is coming to an end if she loses the TBS Championship. But yeah, I don't know. I'm going very much heart over head here, and I'm praying that Chris Statlander gets the win here, because I hate Mercedes Monet, and I think Chris Statlander is arguably one of the best women's wrestlers on the roster. So for me, I feel like this is a certified banger after the one they had last time, and arguably one that's going to steal the show as far as matches go, again for the second pay-per-view in a row. But I think through one way or another, Chris Statlander gets the win here and becomes the new TBS Championship. Or at least I think so. I'm trying to convince myself still. And in the Continental Classic final, I predict that we will have an Ospreay versus Okada final, and Will Ospreay is going to get the win here, and we're going to have a new Continental Champion. And I know that one of the big stories going into the tournament was Okada's. I think he needs like one more win to become the greatest tournament champion, tournament wrestler of all time. Yeah, we can save that. I'm not going to lie. We can save that for another year and have him kind of win the Continental Championship kind of next year, have him maybe turn babyface or something and have him do it that way. But for me, it makes sense that Will Ospreay has the championship going into the new year, and it kind of, I think for me, it's a case of having Ospreay be champion, but then eventually have Kyle Fletcher take it from him, and then we get Kyle Fletcher in next year's Continental Classic. And because let's be fair, Kyle Fletcher has had an absolutely fantastic showing. Like, he's almost perfectly had the Continental Classic in the bag for weeks now. Weeks before the tournament even ended. He's pretty much had it in the bag. So for me, it makes the most sense that Kyle Fletcher eventually becomes Continental Classic, but he takes it from Will Ospreay, and Ospreay takes it from Okada. Then we had it, and also it takes the lineage of the Continental Classic, the Continental Championship, to like a next level of it being Eddie Kingston, Okada, Ospreay, Fletcher, which is massive in my opinion. And yeah, and if we get Okada Ospreay, you know it's going to be just an absolute classic. And you know, the fact that I did like a top 10 video on pay-per-views, and then we get like a possible Okada Ospreay match on the World's End is just bloody typical in it. But yeah, for me, as I said, for me, it just makes the most sense in the situation that we're in that Will Ospreay walks out Continental Champion at World's End. And finally, what I assume will 100% be the main event, we have Jon Moxley defending the AEW World Championship against Hangman Adam Page, Orange Cassidy, and Jay White in a fatal 4-way match. And for me, it's, again, one of the more simple predictions on the card. Moxley retains here, and we continue this kind of takeover of AEW by the Death Riders. Will the Death Riders get involved? Absolutely. None of the other members are actually on the card, so unless they like announce stuff on Rampage or just on social media between now and then, it makes the most sense that Moxley comes out here, he brings the Death Riders with him, and it's kind of like it's almost like an 8-man tag to start with, almost, or not an 8-man tag, like a 6-man tag to start with, or a 4-on-3 handicap match even, because my math isn't quite mathing. But then they kind of overcome the Death Riders, they all work together to kind of get rid of them for a bit, and then they have a triple threat match, like Orange Cassidy suggested that they do. And then eventually, like, Moxley will probably come in and steal the win at some point and kind of only just retain the championship, even though it's kind of very simple to predict that he's going to come out with the championship. But yeah, for me, it just makes the most sense that we continue the storyline. At the minute, it seems to be setting up that Darby Allin is going to be the one to take the championship, even though I really don't want it to be. I'd rather it be Orange if we're going to go with anybody, or maybe even Danny Garcia. But yeah, this feud doesn't end here. I can imagine that maybe Hangman will probably cost himself the match somehow, which will piss him off even more, even though you can't really get any more pissed off than Hangman, unless your name is Drew McIntyre. Jay White, I feel like, is probably going to take the pin here. If it's not Jay White, it'll be Orange Cassidy, because he obviously lost at Full Gear. But yeah, it's going to be a great match. It's going to be action full. It's probably going to be bloody as fuck as well. But as I said, I'm fairly 100. I'd probably say I'm 96% convinced that Jon Moxley is going to get the win here and continue his reign over AEW with the Death Riders. So yeah. So those are my predictions for AEW Worlds End 2024. I think it's going to be an absolutely great show in my opinion. And as I said, I'm really annoyed that I've done a top 10 list for the pay-per-views of the year, and I feel like this one's probably going to be one of the better ones of the year as well. So it's just kind of sod's law that happened. But yeah, for me, like, match of the night wise, it's either going to be Statlander Monet 2, or if we get it, Okada Ospreay, because I don't think those two could ever put on a bad match. And yeah, same for Monet and Statlander, they absolutely killed it at Full Gear, and I expect them to go even further in this one. But yeah, so what do you think of the card itself? Who do you think is going to win? Put your predictions down below in the comments. And yeah, I hope you all guys had a great Christmas yesterday, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Please do leave a like if you enjoyed it. Do hit the subscribe button, stick around for some more wrestling content. A lot of stuff coming in the new year, and I think the World's End coverage is the last videos of the year. But in the new year, we have Wrestler of the Year, Match of the Year, Breakout Star of the Year, my predictions for who's going to be kind of the stars of 2025. I have Royal Rumble entrant predictions going out as well as all kind of Royal Rumble based content, if you will. So yeah, a lot of videos coming in the new year. And as I said, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll see you later.